Hazel is the name of my wife. We got married 10 years after dating for 10 years, having first met in high school. Hazel was a happy woman with a cute smile, but she wasn't exactly the beauty queen kind. We were blessed with a daughter, Michelle, not long after we were married. My wife was a loving person who had always given me encouragement. Hazel was working part-time at the time and taking care of our child and my mom, who was living with us, as she battled cancer. Though I hoped she wouldn't put in too much overtime, she kept working to support our family's budget. She would leave my mom with a visiting nurse, drop Michelle off at daycare, and go to work. She would constantly say, "It's better to eat healthy," and she would go food shopping to prepare home-cooked meals, regardless of how exhausted she was. On my days off, I pitched in around the house and, if feasible, drove my mom to her doctor's appointments. My mother passed away after 3 years of this life. Following the burial, Hazel vanished out of nowhere. We had just begun to settle down at this point. A letter that she had left behind. The letter expressed regret. "Divorce is what I want. Don't look for me, please." All she took with her was the bare minimum. I had no idea why she had left. My mind could not comprehend what had occurred so abruptly. When I immediately contacted her cell, all I got was a message stating that the number was out of service. Is that possible? Had she absconded with someone? Though I couldn't imagine she would have an affair, the thought did enter my mind. As usual, Hazel remarked, "I will always love you and Michelle," the night before she vanished. I was completely taken aback by her abrupt disappearance. I would have wanted to talk to her about it if there was something that was so serious that she wanted a divorce. It was unbelievable to me that a single letter would be the end of it all. I felt a wave of frustration go over me. I pondered whether there was something about me that didn't satisfy her. Admittedly, I didn't appreciate her commitment. She was always there smiling, so I never really thought she might be having problems or had a change of heart. There was so much regret. I believe I cried until my eyes dried out. We've been waiting for Hazel to return ever since, but she never did. I tried phoning all of her pals, but nobody had any idea of her location. Hazel mentioned that she had a sister who was living overseas, but they hadn't seen one another in a while. Nor did I have her contact information. She had no family left because her parents had died when she was a little child. Nobody was there for support. What happened to her on Earth? Why did she walk away? I was finding it harder and harder to decipher what Hazel was thinking. Still, I never went through with a divorce because I wanted to have faith in her. I've been parenting Michelle by myself ever since. Not to boast, but she turned out to be a nice kid who never went rebellious. Michelle is an excellent chef. Her scrambled eggs are delectable for breakfast. It tasted a little like the scrambled eggs my wife used to prepare, but in a soothing way. Michelle started to look more and more like Hazel as she developed. Her casual mannerisms, her wide-open lips in moments of surprise, and her smile, which was concealed by her narrowed eyes, were all reminiscent of Hazel from her school days. It makes me think of her, and seeing my kid made me feel as though my heart would break. Michelle approaches me with a broad smile and says, "Get over your sadness, Dad. Go ahead, smile." Her face reminded me so much of Hazel's, and it made me feel really sad. Michelle was the one reason I had to survive. I doubt I could have gotten over the shock without her. Michelle completed her middle and high school education at neighborhood schools. Instead of attending college, she entered the workforce. She may have given up on college because she didn't want to bother me, but she is a gentle person. I never made it up the corporate ladder as a low-paid salaried worker who wasn't very competent at his job. I'm still a normal employee. Considering how hard my daughter is working, it's very pitiful. Michelle continued to live with me even after she started a career and moved out on her own. "You can live your life the way you want," I would always tell her. She would, however, chuckle and declare, "I am living the way I want to. Besides, if I went, you couldn't cook, Would you, Dad? I can't just up and move out on my own. The fact that she decided to stick by my side made me very happy. However, Michelle will eventually meet and marry a beautiful man. I get sad occasionally, even if it's still in the future. This year, my daughter turned 20, and we got a letter on her birthday. It was addressed to Michelle and me and came in a sweet flowery envelope. I noticed that Hazel's name was scribbled there when I looked at who it was from. I stood there stunned as Michelle emerged from behind me. "Mom," muttered she. When we opened the mail, we discovered a note written in Hazel's recognizable penmanship. Without a doubt, Hazel wrote it. Her writing is exquisite and feminine. We carefully reviewed the letter. "I apologize for leaving you so quickly. I bet you're mad at me for being so self-centered. Considering how much you two must have worried and endured, I am overcome with regret." Tears ran down Michelle's face and mine as we read. "There's something I want to give to you both," the letter said. "Please go visit Claire. It's with her." Hazel's twin sister is Claire. Years had passed since she moved overseas, and Hazel claimed she hadn't heard from her. But the letter had Claire's contact details. Claire answered the phone when I called, seeming both relieved and a little dejected. "I'm happy you got in touch with me," she said. In her letter, Hazel mentioned that she has something to offer us. I inquired, "Now, where is she?" Claire said simply, "Let's get together and talk." A few days later, Michelle and I visited Claire's apartment after obtaining her address. She appeared to have come back from overseas a few years prior. We greeted each other and were then shown into the living room. "I appreciate you coming all the way here today," Claire remarked. She said, glancing at Michelle, "You've come a long way. You resemble my sister exactly." My heart nearly broke at what she said. "Where is Hazel?" I asked. "We'd like to see her." "I'll take you to her," murmured Claire, casting a downward glance. "When we arrive, I'll go over everything." We arrived to a major hospital after she drove us for around an hour. I ignored it and thought, ****, what does this mean? Is Mom ill?" Our brains were racing. Claire told us that Hazel had early onset dementia, her face sad. Hazel couldn't bring herself to inform us that physicians had recommended she be admitted to the hospital and undergo rehabilitation. She didn't want to be a burden to us or for us to see her progressively lose sight of her own family, which is why she left home. The truth, she reasoned, would only make me more anxious. Hazel chose to leave us for that reason, which is why she was admitted to the hospital. The only one who knew about it was Claire. When I learned that Hazel's illness had gotten so bad that she had lost the ability to recognize even Claire, I immediately started crying. Michelle was also in tears. It appears that on Michelle's 20th birthday, Hazel begged Claire to deliver the letter before she forgot about her family. Claire produced a ring and a necklace from a tiny jewelry box she had taken out of her purse. Claire said, "She asked me to give these to you too." Hazel had always loved this necklace, and it was a gem. When we went on our first date as students, it was the first item I bought for her. What about the ring? Our wedding ring was in it. With my pay, I was unable to purchase anything luxurious, but Hazel had shed many happy tears and exclaimed, "Thank you, thank you." "And this one too," Claire said, passing us a letter. It was full of memories from a vacation we did as a family, including the time I fell over in another amusement park and made a fool of myself, and the time we went to an amusement park where Michelle got too excited and hurt herself. While she still recalled, Hazel jotted down these memories. When Michelle turned 20, she asked me to bring this letter, the necklace, and the ring. Claire clarified that Hazel had given Claire, her sister, her sentiments and wishes. Claire blurted out, "I really wanted to contact you sooner, but I couldn't break the promise I made with my sister." She was crying. "No, Claire, you have my gratitude." "Claire, thank you for protecting Hazel's sentiments," I said. "Thank you," Michelle added in appreciation. So it was that we were able to see Hazel again after 10 years. Claire opened the hospital room door and saw an elderly Hazel with gray splotches in her hair. "Hey, hi there. I take it you're from the room next door. And who could this charming lady in Guy be? Good to meet you." I had considered what I would say to my wife if we crossed paths again. It was something I had been considering for decades. However, I was unable to say anything when it was finally time to look her in the eye. In addition, I had never thought it was circumstance like this. My chest constricted and tears started to flow as soon as our eyes locked. "Oh no, why are you crying all the time? Has anything depressing occurred?" Hazel gave us a troubled expression. "No, we came to clean the hospital today, and I guess the disinfectant got in my eyes," I lied clumsily. "Ah, I see. Take care," she retorted. Michelle caressed my back as we left the room, her crimson eyes pleading, "Smile, Dad, smile." My biggest ally has always been Hazel. She was the one who loved me the most. And yet, I had seen no signs of her suffering. I felt stupid for not seeing that. Michelle said to me, "Even though Mom may have forgotten about us, the memories we shared as a family will always be treasured." For her, I believe it's the same. Though her heart remembers, her head may forget. From now on, let's provide Mom as much help as we can. Yeah, you're right. Feeling incredibly proud of my amazing daughter, I broke down in tears once more. Neither the memory Hazel has forgotten nor the time we spent apart can be recovered. However, I want to support her as much as I can and be there for her if it helps her in any way. Michelle and I went to see Hazel whenever we could starting the following day. We discussed everything and anything, including everyday matters, with her. Chatting really activates the brain, doesn't it? Hazel asked, appearing to get excited. Our old family pictures were on the shelf in her hospital room. Isn't this picture amazing? It evokes such sentimental memories. I experience the same thing when we communicate. Very reassuring, Hazel remarked, grinning at Michelle and myself. Michelle and I grinned back at Hazel, saying, "We feel the same way," and we all laughed as a family. I had been yearning for these days so long, to be with my wife and daughter. Our relationship as a priceless family will never alter, even if she forgets. I want to stand at her side indefinitely.